the top, baby, don't stop. You can have it. You can have it all. Let's go to the top, baby, don't stop. Love, joy, peace. Good life and family. We'll get success. Let's go.
Hey, welcome to the Latisha Tankard Show. Listen, today we're going to be talking about how you don't have to allow your past hurts to dictate your future flow. I mean, so many people live in the past, you don't have to do that. So stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Impact is digital. Impact social.
Impact is enduring, laying a foundation for generations to come, imparting principles and setting standards that persevere, providing education, giving motivation, and inspiring imagination, sowing seeds of courage, self-worth, and significance. The Impact Network for the spirit, soul, and body. Impact is yours.
Welcome back to the Latisha Tankard Show right here on the Impact Network. And now it's time for Millionaire Madness. Millionaire tip of the day: live below your means. Or you could say, because I don't like people to forsake too many things, but just go with me here. We'll expound a little bit. Most self-made millionaires play the game that got them there. Even when they can afford to buy more, legendary investor Warren Buffett famously lives in the same house in Omaha, Nebraska, and I ain't gonna do that, but just listen to me. He bought for $31,500 in 1958 before he made his billions. Now, here's the thing that I do love about Warren Buffett, because obviously he's made it to the status of billionaire, which took a lot of discipline, a lot of diligence, and not just regular discipline, but obviously Mr. Buffett has had a tremendous amount of financial discipline. And that's the main thing that I want to get, because I believe that you can have whatever you want to have, and so you don't have to stay in the same house as Warren Buffett in order to be successful. I certainly wouldn't do it. I like to be around things and places that inspire me, that motivate me, that make me smile when I see it. And so, you may be wired the same way, or if it doesn't take all that for you, you can stay in the same house. But here's a key principle that I want you to get. No matter if you're making a little bit of money, medium amount, or a lot of money, you need to have financial discipline. What does that look like? That means that I believe strongly that you need to be giving to a church or charity 10% of that income, everything that you get, and then you need to pay yourself. And that's one of the main things that Mr. Buffett has done. He said every single bit of income that has come into his household over the last, he said over 50 years or something like that, he always pays himself at least 10%. You can pay yourself, and you must pay yourself. It's a principle that'll just cause overflow in every area of your life. So that's today's Millionaire tip. All right, now it's time for Financial Watch. Yes, Financial Watch. We want to know what's going on in our economy and how it impacts you. All right, so this is it. Attending college at a top university may be more affordable than you think. Parents, pay attention. Actually, in several cases, it's free. Can you believe that? CNN reports that Stanford University has expanded their financial aid to start this fall. Yeah. The university said that no parents with an annual income and typical assets of less than $125,000 will have to pay a single cent toward tuition. Honey, that's a big deal. Stanford also said it would offer free room and board in addition to free tuition for those making less than $65,000. This is a huge savings, as the annual cost for a typical Stanford student runs about $65,000, including annual tuition. So as it stands right now, that students can leave, 77% of undergraduate students can graduate with no student debt. All right, that's great information, and we'll be right back.
Congratulations to the Impact Network and its founders, Apostle Wayne T. and Dr. Beverly Y. Jackson, for now becoming the only African-American founded and operated international Christian TV network, bringing the gospel to Africa, including over 40 countries and 900 million viewers. We salute you.
show. Look at this. This is so cute. This is Micah Tankard, baby Micah. And he is just adorable. And so I wanted to bring him on the set. I don't know how long it's going to last, but we're going to try for a while, okay? Anyway, I'm so excited. I got my son, our oldest son, and our beautiful daughter-in-law, Tish, on the show today. Can we give it up for them, y'all? Yes? Yes? They are definitely a power couple, and Marcus recently just started a bow tie company, honey, and Micah and him be clean, called Brick House, and so I want you to check that out. So I want to welcome you guys to the show. Mommy's so proud of you guys to be on the show. Ah! Okay, so let's jump right on in here. Oh, he's doing so good, isn't he? All right, so Marcus, I want to jump right in here. You know, a lot of people have had the opportunity to see us on Thicker Than Water, on Bravo, and they've seen, you know, us as a blended family that love each other, but definitely have had our sets of challenges, which I think really every and any family does. And I know that you were primarily raised by your grandmother. Right. Tell us what your relationship with, you know, Dad was like growing up. Uh-oh, I don't know how much longer. Shania Tankard, can you come and get Micah Tankard, please? I think he said I had enough. Oh, okay, you did so good. You did so good. Auntie Shania's got you. Okay, all right, okay. All right, so baby, you were raised by your grandma. Right. What was your relationship like growing up when you were younger?
Well, with Dad, you know, I would reach out and endeavor to, you know, call and talk. But he was always on the road. And then periodically, you know, I came and I lived with him for a while. And even when he was there, he was the typical, what we would say, you know, present but absent dad, physically there, but emotionally unavailable, or on the road and just physically and emotionally unavailable.
Yeah. So, because, and obviously, you know, you started to, I mean, at some point, you and Dad started to develop a relationship. And I guess I want to ask you, because we know many times when you're, first of all, he didn't actually, you guys didn't actually meet, I think, until you were finally, what, 6?
Yes.
Or 7, somewhere around there, where you actually met at 6 years old. So you went for those first 6 years without Dad being in your life. Right. So during that time when your relationship with your dad was not as successful as it is today, what made you stay open-minded to still having a true relationship with him?
Well, I didn't.
Oh, you weren't?
There wasn't an open mind about it at all.
Open-minded.
No, there wasn't no open mind about it.
This is juicy, honey.
Well, well, see, this is the thing. This is why it pays to marry right. Okay. Because really, it was my wife, you know, that turned my heart, because as we'll probably get into later on, she had never met her dad before. Right. And so if I was estranged from my father, then that wouldn't make for a grandfather for our kids. Right. On either side. Right. So, you know, when you begin to have a family of your own, your priorities with your own family begin to change a little bit.
Okay, so now I need to ask you this, because you're saying you weren't open-minded until Tish came along. Now I know, you know, I married Daddy later on, and you came and stayed with us as a teenager. Did you come because you were open-minded then, or you just came because you felt like you had to?
I think
because I thought you were open-minded, that's why you
came.
I
mean, you're open-minded to an extent. I think the reason that I came when I graduated from high school was because I wanted to be able to be with him so there wouldn't be any regrets later on.
Gotcha.
You know, so that it would never be said.
So there was still a level of open-mindedness.
There was a level of open-mindedness, but then, you know, even after staying there, you know, I left.
Right, absolutely.
And I went far. I went to the mission field, and I went way far, you know, and I really didn't totally come back around for the long haul until we got married and the whole relationship really became a priority.
Yeah, this is really, really good. So Tish, now I wanted to talk to you, because I know that you too grew up in a close-knit family, small family, but your family was absent in your life as well, as Marcus just indicated. What type of effect did growing up without a father have on you?
Well, I mean, in the beginning, you know, I really didn't know, because, you know, just my mom and my grandma. But, you know, later on when I see my friends, you know, having, you know, Father's Day, spending Father's Day with their dad, and, you know, just having, you know, dads coming to their events and all that. And I'm like, well, you know, where's my dad? You know, so, I mean, there was definitely a void there.
Yeah, okay. So, did you ever cry about it? As a child?
Plenty of times. I don't know, I felt like, you know, well, what was wrong with me? You know, why didn't he want to, you know, be a part of my life? You know, that type of thing. Okay, okay. And did your mom have open conversation with you about what happened there, or was she kind of closed up? Well, Mom, she was really young. She had my twin sister and I at the very young age of 16.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I mean, yeah, she was young at the time.
Yeah,
and then,
yeah.
Long story short, the guy, my father, he said we weren't his. And so my mom, she was like, well, you don't have to be a part of their life.
Gotcha.
And that was it.
Gotcha. So, being that you didn't grow up in a two-parent household, what was your example, or where did you get your mental picture of an ideal marriage?
That's a good question.
Correct. That is a good question. I don't know. I think it came TV, I think. And then, you know, seeing stuff on TV, you know, a lot of times it's not real, so you really can't get like a real idea, like, you know, this is what it's supposed to be like.
Right.
But I think I really didn't get it until like I was, you know, well in my teenage years. I have to say from my pastors.
Okay.
Yeah, so I looked at
So you saw your pastors have not really helped. This is really good. I mean, you guys are doing an amazing job to open up about all this. Listen, we're about to go to break. We'll be right back.
Impact is digital. Impact is social. Impact is healing. Healing for the spirit, for the soul, and the body. Healing for the generations. Healing for our cities, and healing for the nations. Healing yesterday's wounds, bringing today's hope and tomorrow's prosperity. The Impact Network, for the spirit, soul, and body. Impact is yours.
Welcome back right here to the Jewel Tankard Show on Impact Network. And I'm sitting here with my oldest son and beautiful daughter-in-law, Latisha. And we're talking about some of those vulnerable areas, you know, of life. And I commend everybody that comes on here that goes places that could potentially be fragile, because it's not always easy to do it. But I think lives will be changed from it. So I want to kind of pick up from where we kind of started. So Tish, knowing that Marcus didn't have the best relationship with his dad, they kind of had one. It wasn't the closest. He came to stay for a while, which for me was pure heaven, because he was like another Tankard in the house. Cyrene had her other siblings, but they came and went. So him and Cyrene, that was great, because she was able to have someone there. You not growing up with a father, your pastors were an impact on having that example. TV, which is why we have to have good TV programming, because for a lot of people, those are the only examples that they see.
Right. Right.
How important was it for you, for Marcus, to have a relationship with his father?
I feel like it was very important because, like I said, I didn't know my father. And my mom, she didn't have a relationship with her father. Okay. And my grandma was separated from her husband. So on my side of the family, you know, our kids, they would just have a dad, but no granddad.
Yeah. And so Marcus, you know, how obviously that she influenced you, which I think this speaks to marriage.
Yes, it does.
Because I influenced Daddy to push to have a relationship with his family. And to be quite honest with you, just to be real, I don't even think it's men don't want to engage. I think at large, when I look at men across the scale, it's the women that push for the family reunions and push for the family dinners. And it's not that they don't even love, I mean, I was talking to Auntie Jeanette about this with Uncle George. It's not that Uncle George doesn't love his family, but she has to say, honey, come on. So I don't think it's that for men it's bad. I just think we're naturally the nurturers. Right. And so it's why it's important for men to marry the right women, because if you don't, they could actually pull you away from your family. You know what I mean? And say, forget them, it's just now us, and we've seen that example too. So Marcus, now that, thank God, you know, you and Dad have definitely grown in your relationship. I would consider it a good relationship now. How do you think that has impacted Tish, knowing that she grew up without a father? And then Tish, I want to hear from you. How do you think it feels now, kind of having a father-in-law, but kind of, because Dad is definitely taking you, you know, as his own. How does that feel?
I think it brings an element of security. for our family because you know, I won't have to question how to interact with Micah when he is in his 20s or entering into his 30s. You know, when you don't have that pattern or that precedent set in front of you, you don't know what to do. And I think that may be why men in general kind of draw back from that interaction because there is no pattern. Well, what does it look like for a father to interact this way? When you don't have that precedent in front of you, you either run from it or you're present but absent.
Exactly.
So I think if anything, it brings security. To our family.
That's good. That's good. What do you think, Kay?
Well, you know, even though Dad isn't my biological, you know, father, I can finally say, you know, I know what it feels like to have a father figure in my life. Yeah, and I always love it because he treats me just like, you know, one of the kids, like one of his kids.
Yeah.
So
Oh, it's beautiful. I almost teared up, Lord. Okay, let's keep moving. That's really good, though. I mean, I think that's good, and I think it speaks to why it's important for us to have these good father figures, to have that interaction and to push because you really feel stronger as a family. And I think it's really both ways because Dad and I have talked about this too. He said, you know, the interesting thing is as much as security is brought for the children, there's an element of security that it also brings to us as parents to know that our children are all intact and that we're all together. You know what I mean? So I think really God created it that way. So I want to move on now a little bit and talk about Our Marriage Rocks because you guys started Our Marriage Rocks. And I think that it's huge because you want to be that example. Tell me a little bit about how that started, Marcus.
Well, it's an outreach. It says Our Marriage Rocks. It really is for relationships all across the board, singles, you know, with your kids, just whatever. And we do YouTube videos. We've been doing workshops, and we're working on a book.
Oh, that's great.
And really, I'm gonna toss this to Tisha because it wasn't
actually my idea.
It was her idea. I didn't want to do it.
You should ask me the question. I just love Marcus because, you know, like I said, it was my idea, but Mark like jumped in, and like when people watch, they don't know if it was my idea or Marcus' idea. It's just like we just mesh, and I love it.
Right. I mean, she begged me for a long time. Please, let's do some videos on that. Please. And I was like, no. And then one day I said, okay.
I can't talk about marriage by myself.
Right. So I said, sure, I'll do it, but you got to write the script. You gotta set it up, do all of that. I said, I'm not gonna do anything. I'm just gonna be present.
I think that's so good because, you know, what if you had not communicated that? You know, and I think that you are a beautiful young woman that's soft-spoken but yet strong. And I think you can be a good example for other women that may be watching that may not be, you know, as outgoing or loud or, you know, kind of like your mama. But I think it's great though because every personality is different, but we still can be, you know, respectful, but say what we have to say. Because that would not have been birthed in Marcus had you not opened up and kind of kept, and you repeated it. And I'm kind of saying this with a lot of the marriages that I've been, you know, talking to because, you know, interviewed mom and dad and so on and so forth. Because a lot of times people are like, I ain't gonna keep saying it, repeat myself. But that's an unrealistic world.
If you want to be heard, you're gonna have to repeat it.
Sometimes you have to repeat over and over again. So I don't think we could put a deadline on it and say, I got to tell you one more time.
Right. That's what it's about. Marriage is all about communication.
Consistent and sometimes repetitive communication.
Saying the same thing over and over again. So talk to me a little bit, Marcus, because you guys are definitely, you know, beating the odds. And I know you're an author, recently started a bow tie company for men. We're so proud of you for that. You already know that. What other things can we expect to see from you in the near future?
Well, ministry is really what it's all about. I mean, we haven't stopped. You know, we're still going. And so I'm starting to do men's conferences now, so that's a good thing. But I think probably one of the major things is that we are working on an Our Marriage Rocks book. And so we're going to try to have that out by the fall and really brand that real good and expand into even the secular market on radio and doing some other things with that.
So. Well, I'm so proud of you. Well, on behalf of your daddy and I just want you to know we're so proud of you. We are. I think you guys are doing an amazing job and just so excited to have you at home with us. And a serious asset to the church. So we love you so much. So y'all, I know y'all enjoyed my son and daughter. Let's give it up for them, okay? Come on. Woo. Yeah, they did so good. All right, so now we're going into the game called What Would You Do? So Marcus and Tish, this is for you. Erica and Amanda are a married couple from Washington, D.C. with 3 children, 9, 7, and 1, 2 boys and a girl. They have a strong desire to see their children achieve success at an early age. They have saved $15,000, $5,000 to invest in each child. How can Erica and Amanda take the gifts and talents that their children have displayed along with the money they've saved and help their children to start producing cash flow right now?
You want to go? Okay, well, you can hit off it when I think, well, if it were us, and it will be us, because, we're saving money for little Micah, you have to watch your children and see what they're giving themselves to on a regular basis. Yeah. And then choose to invest in it, whether it's with camps or workshops. I mean, they have spring break, they have summer, they have fall break. So take that time to invest in something where if you can't develop that gifting, put them around somebody else that can, whether it's a musician or a painter or I don't know, engineer, whatever it is that they're showing interest in. And I'm a little biased because I'm a missionary. I say go global. Get your kids out of the country so they can have a global mindset so they're not limited in how they dream and set their goals, when they become teenagers and adults or whatnot.
That's so good. And I love it because you guys also recently started vitamin D line for Micah. So Micah literally has his first business as a newborn baby.
As a newborn.
He's only 2 months.
Yeah, so talk about what, you guys are great partners in that. You've launched that. What was the inspiration behind starting that vitamin D line?
Go ahead, baby.
Well, Micah was vitamin D deficient and we didn't know it. So the doctor said you need to, with breastfed babies, they many times need vitamin D. So we just didn't need the extra iron as well. So we didn't just go to the pharmacy and fulfill the prescription. We did our research and we saw it's not something that's specific to Micah. It's with newborns all over the place and with many adults. So with the business brain and entrepreneurial drive that our family has, we chose to invest in a vitamin company and we're pushing it, baby vitamin D.
Yeah, so excited for it too. Get you some vitamin D. Adults can take it too. Get your vitamin D. Yes. So that's good. So basically, investing in them, possibly traveling globally, internationally. Camps that will foster those gifts and those talents, because many times we may not know what our children are really good at, but kind of watching to see where do they seem to really take off. Where do they really seem to gravitate towards. I think that's wonderful, and I think that's also where it becomes really important for parents at large to be paying attention to those things that are going on with their children. Right. If you had to answer this question, when did the light kind of come on for you that, okay, you know what, I know that we've been married, we're ready to have children, we definitely want to have children. Did you guys discuss your parenting style before you started having children, especially, and I'm asking this specifically because there were not necessarily strong role models in your formative years. Right. Did you guys discuss that?
We really didn't.
No.
Like you don't have an example. I mean,
there's nothing to discuss.
Yeah, you just follow the greatest example that you could follow, the Holy Spirit. So I mean, I didn't have a father, and then Mark didn't have his father for the first 6 years, and so just follow the Holy Spirit, and you can't go wrong there.
That's the key. Trust the Holy Ghost. He'll make you what you need to be.
That's good. Come on, you heard it live. Trust the Holy Ghost. So you didn't really just get a chance to discuss, parenting per se.
We were just glad to be married, first of all.
You just right.
I'm just glad she said yes.
But
then beyond that, we were glad we would have a 2-parent home.
Right.
And besides that, we didn't know how it was going to work out. So we just said we'll just trust God, get in the Word, and make it work.
And figure it out.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that you guys decided to stay home, because I think that, for Dad and I being able to be a part of not just your marriage, but now Micah. And his formative years like this, I think it just means so much. Like you said, it just affirms, because I think when children can have a support system, because it really does take a village. You want him hearing not just from you two that he's loved and that he's affirmed and that he's approved, but the more family you can have around, it gives him a sense of security that if I can't get it from Dad, I can get it from Uncle. If I can't get it from Uncle, then I can get it from Auntie. So I think that you guys making that decision, even though you didn't have it in your formative years, you're saying, you know what, we're creating a new legacy now. And so I'm proud of you for doing that, because it would have been easy for you to repeat it. So listen, I know you guys are blessed, and we will be right back after this break.
One day, when the glory comes, it will be ours.
Dr. King, what's your next move?
In March from Selma to Montgomery.
Selma is loud for every man, woman, and child.
We will not wait any longer.
In front of a crowd.
Mine eyes have seen the glory. Glory, glory, hallelujah.
Congratulations to the Impact Network and its founders, Apostle Wayne T. and Dr. Beverly Y. Jackson, for now becoming the only African-American founded and operated international Christian TV network, bringing the gospel to Africa, including over 40 countries and 900 million viewers. We salute you.
Impact is digital. Impact social reach.
Impact is ready. Ready to face a nation's problems. Ready to conquer. Ready to fix. Ready to heal. Ready to educate. Ready to change. Ready to fight. Ready to work. Ready to illuminate. Ready to impact this world. The Impact Network. For the spirit, soul, and body. Impact is yours.
Welcome back to the Jewel Tankard Show right here on Impact Network. It's time for Reality Watch. Let's see what's going on here. Let's talk preachers' daughters. Woo. Season 3, this show has evolved from season to season from an in-house look at the lives of young ladies with preachers' parents to a bad girls club, inspired under one that was supposed to be with, you know, these are girls that are supposed to be living a life for Jesus, but now that's taking a back seat to booze and twerking. A lot of booze and a lot of twerking, or at least that's what it looks like in the new Preacher's Daughter season. All right, so now, how do you handle that? What should you do? You need to beat them. Beat them in the morning. Beat them at night. No, seriously. I mean, the Bible does say don't spare the rod, but I mean, when they get to teenagers like that, you can't really be beating them like that. I will say this, though. No matter where your children are in their lives, they need to know that you love them. And I think that most children at some point, I like to say, they're collecting testimonies. So we can't necessarily define and just say because they're preacher's daughters, that doesn't mean, I mean, they're subject just like to a nurse's daughter or a doctor's daughter. They're subject to temptations of the flesh just like anybody else. So I think that we do ourselves a disservice if we put preachers' kids on a pedestal. Give them space and room to grow. Give them space and room to change, and definitely don't beat them over the head and tell them how much they're going to hell and wonder why they don't want to come to church. So, you know, I think that we have to be careful that we love them, that of course we tell them, you know, right from wrong, but I think more than that, they just need to know that they are loved. All right, so until next time, we'll be right back here on the Jewel Tankard Show. Remember, you can have it all.